Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the conference. And this next talk that we have for you is actually from someone called Kyle Roof. And now this is going to be it's been pre-recorded, so you'll be able to see it. I'm going to turn off and switch, but I'm going to do an intro to Kyle anyway, as if he were here. And then what I will also do is I will, inside the chat, um, in a second, I'm going to put in some information about Kyle. So that will be where you can reach him to ask questions. So the way we're doing it is we're recording it, and then you can use this link that I'm going to put in the Q&A, or that maybe one of the moderators will. And you can actually then message him directly on his LinkedIn, and he is available to answer questions. So with that being said, let me go ahead and introduce Kyle. So before co-founding Internet Marketing Gold, which many of you may know of, Carl was actually the lead tester for the SEO intelligence agency. And these guys were the ones overseeing the 300 or so single variable tests on Google's algorithm. Since then, he's gone on to found the High Voltage SEO agency, which you can also find if you download the PDF at the end, you'll be able to see how to get in touch with him there. He's also the co-creator and the sort of scientist behind the on-page SEO evaluation tool, Page Optimizer Pro, which I know that me and my agency have used, and many of you have probably used as well. He regularly presents on lots of SEO topics, and he's been invited to speak at many big conferences on SEO. He was actually awarded the best speaker at the Chiang Mai SEO conference in 2019, which is one of the largest SEO events in the world. And one of the sort of claim to fames that he has, or the funny things about him, is he actually ranked a website entirely in Latin, which incidentally got him and all of his test sites banned and by Google. And they actually had to create special webmaster guidelines just to deal with him and the stuff the antics that he was up to on Google. So if you know Page Optimizer, if you want any of his training courses, or you want to check out his agency, I suggest that you get the links in his PDF or on the description of his event as well on the digital marketing conference. You can find it there as well. So in this talk, he's going to then explain exactly what it is in the pre-recorded talk. It's going to be some really cutting edge stuff from Kyle. He's going to be looking at how you can rank for more keywords, and I'll just leave it at that. That sounds like a promise too good to be true, but wait till you listen to the talk. So with that said, I'm going to mute myself, turn my camera off, and then in the Q&A, I'm going to paste the link that you can go and message Kyle on. And once I've done that, I'm going to end the session. And so there'll be a little bit of a few seconds delay, and then you'll see the pre-recorded thing start. All right, everyone. Enjoy the talk from Kyle.
Rank for more keywords. I'd like to tell you a little story about the 1880s, and you might be like, ah, yes, a decade I know well. But it turns out the 1880s impact your life today. The number one invention from the 1880s was electricity. This is the time when Tesla and Westinghouse and Edison were doing AC and DC and light bulbs. And can you imagine every industry in the world going from no electricity to electricity? That's 0 to 100. Things were being invented every day. New industries were being invented. You could barely keep up with it. And the crazy part is that no one had any experience with electricity. It was brand new. So the people that were inventing these things were simply the ones that decided to go and do it. One such person who decided to go and do it was Herbert Dow. In the 1880s, Dow was a chemistry student in a master's program at Case Western University in Ohio. And he went to his professors and he said, we've got all the chemicals and we have electricity. I say we zap the chemicals and we see what happens. And his professors were like, that's a great idea. That's exactly what you should do. And so that's what Dow did. And then Dow got to this chemical called bromine. Now, bromine's a really weird chemical, and in nature, bromine is always attached to something. And so in order to use bromine, you have to detach it from that thing. And what happened when Dow zapped the bromine, it actually detached in a way that was cleaner, more efficient, cheaper to produce than what was currently being done. And so Dow realized that he could create bromine and sell it at a cheaper price than what was currently on the market. And so Dow leaves school and he decides, I'm going to be the bromine guy. And so that's what he does. He goes and he starts a bromine factory. Now, you may not have heard of bromine before, and that's perfectly okay. But in the 1880s, it was having its day. Remember, new industries being formed. So you've got pictures and electricity, and you put them together, and you have motion pictures. Movies were invented in the 1880s, and that film needed bromine. Cameras went from huge size down to small personal size, and everyone's taking pictures. That film also needed bromine. In medicine, in the 1880s, they figured out how to put people to sleep during surgery without killing them, and that process also involved bromine, including dozens and dozens of other industries. Bromine was in huge demand and it was very, very valuable. Now, bromine is pretty weird, and that's what it looks like in that red canister there. And here's where things get a little bit weirder. At this time, the entire world's supply of bromine is controlled by a cartel out of Germany. And this is a true story, and you can look this up. And I say cartel, they were an actual criminal organization. On a good day, they were price fixing and forcing people out of the industry. On a good day, or on a bad day, excuse me, they were burning down buildings and they were burying bodies. They were an actual criminal organization. Now, when Dow starts, he's a small fish, and he's just selling in North America, in the U.S. and Canada, and the cartel pretty much ignores him. But his process is better. He's selling it for cheaper. He's growing and growing and growing. And one day Dow decides to sell in Europe. So he goes over to Europe, he finds some land, he finds a factory they can repurpose, and the cartel hears about this, and they pop him off a letter. And they say, look, Dow, two things. One, you're not selling in Europe. And two, you're going to raise your price up to our price. And if you don't, we're going to flood the North American market with cheap bromine, and we're going to put you out of business. So Dow thinks for a minute. He writes a letter back, and he says, bring it on. So the cartel at this time, they were selling at 49 cents a pound. And Dow, with his Zap technology, was selling at 36 cents a pound. And when Dow didn't play ball, the cartel did exactly what they said they were going to do, and they flooded the North American market with bromine at 15 cents a pound. So what did Dow do? Dow stopped making bromine. Through a secret agent, he went in and he purchased all the bromine from the cartel at 15 cents a pound. He took the bromine back to his factory, he took it out of their packaging, put it in anonymous packaging, shipped it back to Europe, and he sold it over there at 27 cents a pound, and he made a fortune. Well, the cartel really can't figure out what's going on. They can see like other small companies folding, but they know that Dow is still there. So what they do is they drop the price down to 12 cents a pound. Dow does the same thing. Through a secret agent, he goes and he purchases all the bromine from the cartel, takes it to his factory, takes it out of their packaging, puts it in anonymous packaging, ships it back to Europe, sells it on the European market at 27 cents a pound, and makes a bigger killing. Now, the cartel really can't figure out what's going on. So they go rock bottom. They drop down to 10.5 cents a pound. This is barely covering the shipping costs. And so this time, Dow, through his secret agent, instead of buying it all, he puts in a double order, and the cartel fulfills. So what he does is he takes half of that, takes it back to his factory, puts it into anonymous packaging, ships it to Europe, and sells it at 27 cents a pound, makes a ton of money, and then he also holds half in reserve. Now, it takes the cartel 5 years to figure out what Dow has done. And when they figure it out, they pop him off another letter, and they beg him to stop. Dow thinks about it for a minute, writes a letter back, and says, nah, bro, I'm not going to stop. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flood the European market with your own cheap bromine, and I'm going to put you out of business. And that's exactly what he did, and he breaks the cartel. Now, there are a lot of lessons to take away, and I don't know who Dow is as a person, but I think there's a certain level of humility that you'd have to have. If you do something better than anyone else in the world, I think it takes a level of humility to not do that. If it were me, I would have dug my heels in. I would have been like, no, I do this better than they do. I'm just going to continue to do that. I don't care what they're doing. But he realized it was better for him to stop doing that thing that he did the best and buy his competitor's product because of the price that they were selling. And then in that, I realized what he was doing is he was giving himself the highest probability for success. He was putting himself in position for the highest probability for success. Success is a range of outcomes, but it also, to get into that range, you have to make a range of decisions. And not every decision you're going to make is correct, is the right one, but you have to make enough good decisions to get into that range. And you also have to be confident that even if you made the decision incorrectly, you know that it was the right decision. You have to make enough of those good decisions so that at the end, you've made enough correct decisions to be within that range of success. So why am I an SEO expert? It could be because I have a Juris Doctorate and I was a trial attorney and I think very analytically. It could be because I've run over 400 tests on Google's algorithm. It could be because I have a US patent on determining whether something is or is not a ranking factor in Google. Or it could be also that Google wrote a rule when I showed people how you can learn something about the algorithm, and Google decided they didn't like that very much. But I don't think any of that actually makes me an expert. What makes me an expert is that I am right more than 70% of the time. That's the percentage. That's the number that makes me an expert. In my experience, most SEO is right about 50% of the time. Excuse me, good SEO. And that's 1 out of 2. You launch 2 pages and one does what you think it should do. That's good SEO, and that's what that is. But if you think about it, that's a coin flip. You could have made every other decision the other way and have been just as successful. Most SEO is probably in that 30 to 40% range. That's 1 out of 3. You launch 3 pages and 1 works. And it's easy to see why people get upset with SEO, why they get frustrated, why they say SEO is dead, or why you can't learn anything about Google's algorithm. Because for them, SEO is dead. There is nothing to learn. Because if you're launching 3 pages and only 1 works, that's not great. That's such a low hit rate that you will not be successful. You cannot run successful campaigns at that, and for you, SEO is actually dead. So what we're going to talk about here is this idea that you need to understand that SEO is a game of probability. You're not going to get it right every time. And that's true in life. That's true in every business situation. You're not going to get it right every time, but you need to get it right at that 70% or above, and that can push you into expert range. And when you do that, you know that if you continue to do those things, you will continue to be successful. And in SEO, you will have sustained successful campaigns. Not everything will work perfectly, but if you can make enough good decisions repeatedly, you can get into that range where you know you're going to be right more times than not. You're going to be successful more times than not. And what we're going to talk about today is really basically how to become that expert, how to get into that area where you're ranking for more keywords, and you will get into that expert range at 70% plus. And what it really comes down to is mindset, casting a wide net, and decreasing volatility. Mindset. First and foremost, remove the burden of success. You will fail. That is the one certainty in life. That is the one certainty in SEO. You will fail. You will not be right 100% of the time. So just let that go. But the thing is, everyone's failed. All the best. Think of your favorite entrepreneur, your favorite business person, your favorite SEO. They all have failed. And in doing so, you join their company. But in order to understand, though, if you're successful, you do need to track your success. And I don't mean KPIs. What I'm talking about are tracking your decision making, your decisions that you've made for a certain campaign. Do you make predictions as to what will happen when you launch a page? And if you don't, you should. When you launch a page for whatever you're doing, for any kind of keyword, you should predict when it's going to get impressions, when perhaps how many clicks it's going to get, what it's going to top out in terms of rank, how many keywords it's going to rank for. Once you start making those predictions, then you can see if you're actually successful. Then you can see if what you've done actually works, and it'll allow you to have more sustained successful campaigns. Here's an example. So we have about 22 pages here that we launched in a CBD space. The white means they started getting impressions when we thought they would. The blue means they were faster than we thought, and the red means that they missed. And you can see within these 22, I had 2 straight misses. They just didn't do what they were supposed to do at all. But out of that, that's about a 90% hit rate. What that means is that I know that if I repeat what I did, I should have a very high rate of success. And if I continue to do that over and over and over, I'm going to continue with sustained success for this site and for this campaign. And at 90%, then you know that that's going to be extremely successful. This is going to be an extremely successful site. And that's what you need to do. But if you're not tracking, you're not making those predictions that will happen, and you're not tracking them beyond the normal KPIs, you'll never know if you're actually being successful. The next thing it comes down to is your routine. Are you doing repeatable things? A lot of SEOs get stuck in the idea of doing, chasing shiny objects. But you don't have a set plan of what you're doing. What it comes down to is having a 3-month plan and then a 6-month plan. You should have this written down. If you don't have things written down as to what you're doing for the next 3 months, when you get home, presumably you might be home, but when you get home, write down a plan. That should be the first thing you do. Make sure that you have a plan for the next 3 months, because once you have that plan, that means you can evaluate what you did. And in that evaluation, you can decide, okay, this didn't really work, so we can take that out. And then you can plug in that shiny thing because you know where it's going to go. But once you've done your 3-month plan or your 6-month plan in about maybe 3 or 4 iterations, and you've taken those things out that you know didn't work because you've been tracking your success, and you put in things that do work, by the time you've done it about 3 times, you're going to have a very successful 3-month plan, so that you know that your outcome likelihood is going to be very successful. Casting a wide net. You know the term aim small to miss small? This is a really good term if you are a golfer or an archer or a pistol shooter. But in SEO, it's a miserable idea. In SEO, we need to aim wide to miss small. We need to give ourselves the best opportunity for success, and that means casting as wide a net as we possibly can. What that means practically is creating pages that have the opportunity to rank for more keywords. You can't get stuck on the idea of one keyword. You must be ranking pages that have the opportunity to rank for hundreds, if not thousands of keywords. And so we're going to walk through it. Step one, don't overthink it. You've got your primary keyword. That's the keyword that you like. That's the keyword that your competitors like. It's probably the most difficult. All right, you're going to put that in the top 4 places to put a keyword. And that's in your title tag, your H1, in paragraph tags, and in the URL. Don't overthink it. People really want to out-clever Google for some reason. It's very annoying, and it's not sustainable. It's not successful. Put your target keyword in those 4 places. And the dirty secret of SEO is that if you've done that, you've probably done 60% of SEO right then and there. The rest is minutia, but you must do those 4 things. Now, one quick note: if you have a page that has existed for some time, you've got some traction, and you realize your keyword isn't in the URL, don't change the URL, because then you're giving Google a new page. But this is for brand new pages or pages that aren't ranking well right now. Kind of going forward, make sure you're getting your target keyword within your URL, in addition to those other places, of course. Step 2. Choose your lead SEO, your lead H2. Now, well-written pages are broken up into sections. Those sections have titles. Those titles should be H2s. Again, don't overthink it. The sections are H2s. Choose your lead H2. Choose the one that's going to push the page into the direction that you need to go. And what I like to do is I like to use related searches for this. So I'm going to search for my primary keyword. I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I'm going to look at those related searches, and I'm going to find the one that I like the most. I'm going to click on that. That's going to give me another search. I'm going to scroll to that bottom. That's going to give me another set of related searches. So now I have 2 sets. I've got my original set of related searches and that new set. And between those 2 sets, I'm going to find matches. All right, and then those matches are going to become the first sections of my page. And let me give you an example. Let's say my target keyword here is international money transfer. That's my main keyword. That's my primary target for this particular page. I'm going to do that search, scroll to the bottom. Here are my related searches. All right, just for this example, let's say I like cheapest international money transfer. And again, you can choose this for a variety of reasons. It has the most search volume, it has the fewest competitors, it takes the page in the direction you want to go. It doesn't matter. But let's say for this example, I like cheapest international money transfer. I'm going to click on that, do that search. That gives me another set of related searches. Now I've got 2 sets between them. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find matches. And in this case, we have 4 matches. We have money transfer organizations, best international money transfer, transfer app, and doing it online. That's the next 4 sections on my site. And what I've done is I've allowed Google to show me what my section should be. And why is that important? It's because of this thing called centerpiece annotation. Several months ago, Google announced centerpiece annotation. What that is Google first tries to decide what is this page is about. What is this page about? And that's, in this case, international money transfer. The next thing that they do is they see if all the sections are related. And if they are, all the sections get full credit. If Google thinks that they aren't related, it will devalue those sections and you will rank for fewer keywords. Now, how do you know? How do you know if Google thinks sections are related or not? Let Google show you. So what we've just done is Google has shown us these things are connected. Google has done that for us and done all the legwork for us so that we know if we write those sections, we will satisfy centerpiece annotation. And the best part is we didn't need a fancy tool or deep SEO knowledge. Google simply showed us. The secret is hiding in plain sight. Don't overthink these things. Don't go nuts. Just look at what Google is showing you and then follow that game plan that Google can give you, and you will write pages that are semantically related that can rank for more keywords. Next, fill in those sections. So obviously, so we've got our first sections. What should go inside those sections? Let Google show you. So we're going to use the related searches again. And so in this example, let's say my next section is the best way to transfer internationally. That's one of my sections. I'm going to do that related search, scroll to the bottom. Notice these bold terms that go in here. Google is expecting to see those terms or those types of terms in there. So I can talk about how to do it quickly. I can talk about amounts. So India, I can talk about locations. PayPal, I can talk about platforms. Those are the types of terms that Google is expecting to see. And then that can guarantee that when you write those sections and you fill them in, that you're giving Google what's expecting to see, and those sections will satisfy centerpiece annotation, and you can rank for more keywords. Next, find 2 questions. So the people also ask is the right thing to do. Find 2 of those that you like. If you don't have a people also ask, you can turn your primary keyword into a question. Just put who, what, when, where, why in front of your target keyword, and a people also ask will come up. Pick 2 of those, put them in just as they are, answer them. And then you've got 2 more fantastic sections, and it gives us the opportunity to win those sections. Those people also ask within the search. Next, look at SERP features. And those are the things that are inside your particular SERP for your target keyword. It's often best to find a list or a table. So start clicking around on the related searches and look at the featured snippets, and you'll probably find some lists or some tables. That's great. Grab one, two is better. Put them on the page. Put them in proper HTML so that you can win the featured snippet. But also look what's in your particular keyword SERP. There might be an image carousel. So then start clicking around and seeing where those are coming from. Maybe you need to get a particular image on there. There might be another feature. Check out what's there. We want to try to get in all those places. We want to take all those places so we see what you can get into, but at a minimum, try to find a list or a table and get that on your page. Last, admire your work. You know, you have a beautiful page. But not only that, you have a page that has the best chance to rank for the most amount of things. We can rank for a primary keyword. We can rank for those related searches, which are secondary keywords. We can rank for terms within those sections because we know that they're related to what Google wants. We can rank for the people also ask. We can rank for featured snippets. We can get our lists in. There are so many things now that we can rank for. We're not just looking at that one particular keyword, but we're casting as wide a net as we can. So this page is going to rank for hundreds or thousands of terms. And the best part is, even if it doesn't rank for that primary keyword, that's okay. Often pages don't, especially if you're going up against huge, and you're just a smaller site. But those other sections can rank for a lot and can be very successful and give you very successful pages. Decrease volatility. Nobody likes Google updates, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. But what we need to do is decrease volatility. So we need to decrease the whims of Google. We don't want to be susceptible to updates. We don't want to be susceptible to changes in Google. And to do that, we need to become an authority. And that doesn't mean becoming an expert. That's a different concept. But you need to become authority. And really what that means is topical coverage. Are you answering all the questions? Are you covering all the topics that exist? And that's really huge right now when you think about a lot of semantic SEO and clustering in SEO. A lot of people are talking about these concepts of coverage, and topical coverage is exactly key. If you answer all the questions, you have the best chance to become an authority. Google will like your site more. And in doing so, you're also creating more content. And sites that create more content will decrease that volatility. What I like to do is I like to create smaller pages that rank for specific keywords. So I want to create, I took a ton of time on that target keyword page, and I spent a lot of time kind of filling that one out and getting all the sections. For these, really what I'm looking for are other terms that I'm going to use to rank for longer tail keywords, those longer phrase keywords within the site that are kind of within the neighborhood of that target page. I'm going to use these as supporting pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose somewhere between 5 and 7 of these terms. I'm going to link them together, and then I'm going to link them up to a target page to support it. For the content, if you're looking for what can you do, the related searches are also another good idea. Those terms that didn't quite fit on your target page, those are excellent. That's a good way to go about it. So you can take those other terms that didn't quite fit on that target page and write those out. If you click out a few times, you can get probably 30 to 50 of those. Also, those people also asked that you probably found that didn't quite fit. Those are excellent as well. Now you've got a content plan of 50 different terms. That's going to take you several months, and that's going to create several groups of that 5 to 7. And now you've got a pretty comprehensive content plan. And again, no special tools. Google is showing you what you need. You're just writing down what's there, and then you answer those questions. You fill out that information, maybe 500 words per page, and you're good to go. And something to keep in mind here, zero search volume is your friend. Don't worry if you put in a people also ask and it comes back with zero search volume. It's impossible for it to have a zero search volume because somebody searched for it. That's how it got related. Don't worry about these. And the other thing too is even if it's zero search volume, that's okay because we want to rank for it. Sites that rank for more keywords do better. Let's say you and I had equal sized sites. You know, the pages are exactly the same. Our link profiles are exactly the same. We have all the same backlinks. Our social this or any other factors are exactly the same. But your site ranks for 20,000 keywords. My site ranks for 2,000 keywords. If we both launch an identical page at the same time, your page will outrank mine. And the reason is that sites that rank for more keywords do better. It's a sign of authority. Your site has more authority than mine because you rank for more keywords. So go after those zero search volume terms. That's what I find. Accumulate as many of those as you can because the more keywords you rank for, the better. The thing here is that you're going to be less reliant on boost, and by boost I mean a backlink. That's the most obvious boost. Sites that do this, that rank for more keywords, need fewer backlinks to rank for more target terms. You're passing more internal juice between your pages and up to your target pages, so you don't need as many boosts. You don't need as many backlinks. But here's another dirty secret. sites that do this can do more backlinks and be more successful. The more you create this type of content, you create a moat of protection around your site, and you can do more boosts. You could do more backlinks if you like. All right, so now we want to talk about how to interlink these things, and this is extremely important. So we're not just putting these up just for the sake of putting them up. We're putting these things up, and we're actually going to interlink them together. And this is the basic structure. So we've got our supporting pages. Remember, those are just the single long tail phrase kind of terms. I'm going to link them just like this: A to B, B to A to C, C to B. And then they're all going to link to a target page. And if you can, get one link from the target page to into the sorting page. That'll help you with indexing. Not mission critical, but it's good to do. We're going to do this kind of structure. So this is the basic setup, but I know people are like, hey, I really like to do advanced interlinking, and that's totally fine. So here's an advanced interlinking concept. You can see our target page. We've got 3 kind of informational kind of link magnets, and then we've got compound. Those are supporting pages within our agency, is what we call them. But what you'll notice is all I'm doing is I'm repeating that basic block. I've got those 3 and they point up, and then I've got 5 and they point in. I'm just repeating that basic building block over and over and over again to create a very successful advanced interlinking structure. Here's another one. This is a top and bottom silo. This is very effective in e-commerce kind of situations. But again, so I've got some supporting pages. They link up to my target page, and I've got these compound pages they link down. And again, this is just a top and bottom, but you'll notice they are just the basic building block. Just one put on top and one put on the bottom. But otherwise, it's all this. If you can master this, and I know it looks simple, and then people try to do it, and it becomes not simple anymore. But if you can master this, that's great. Now, one question I always get on the links, I don't care about navigation menus, I don't care about sidebars, I don't care about footers. That's not what we're talking about here. This is links within the body. This isn't URL structure. This isn't parent-child situation. This is just links within the body. So these pages can sit anywhere on the site. They can be pages, they can be posts, they can be whatever you have. It doesn't matter. They can all be in different locations, in different categories. Again, that doesn't matter. This is a relationship that is created by links within the body. And in doing so, you create these little silos. And if you master this and these links within the body, then you can do very advanced interlinking. And these will all pass really, really, really good juice to the pages that you need to pass to. So the probability of SEO. Remember, SEO is a game of probability. And what we need to do is put ourselves in the best possible position for success. And what that comes down to is ranking for more keywords. The more we can rank for, the better. The more success we will have. You won't be right every time, but you will be right more times than not. And it comes down to our mindset. Track your success, make predictions, and also don't worry about being perfect. Second, cast a wide net. Build pages that are semantically related, that have the opportunity to rank for the most amount of keywords and the most amount of SERP features. And then lastly, decrease volatility. Create supporting pages. Those supporting pages will raise the authority of your site because you will start to rank for more keywords. You're going to pass juice between those pages, and you're going to pass juice up to your target pages. And in doing so, you're going to decrease your reliance on boosts. And in doing so, you're going to become less susceptible to Google updates. All right. This works on a new site. So this is actually the international money transfer site, started completely from scratch, and we're able to build that up. And this is basically no backlink strategy. This is really more just in that content, getting those target pages built out, getting those supporting pages built out. This also works for an established site. This is a site that was getting about 25,000 impressions a day, and we came in, again, doing not a heavy backlink strategy, but a research-based, content-based strategy, and going from 25,000 impressions a day to 50,000 impressions a day, which is a really nice increase. And also, this is not counting branded terms. All right, so I'd like to take you back to the 1880s just for a minute. When we hear stories about Dow, I know we often think like, oh, that guy was so lucky that a brand new industry came up that disrupted everything, and every industry was involved, and you didn't have to have any special experience. You just had to go and do it. And I'd like to bring you to today, and that's exactly where we are with Google. Nobody had any experience with Google. There's no special requirement to be an SEO. When I was in university, there was no Google. There was no SEO. And you fast forward 20 years later, and I am an on-page SEO expert. I'm a pioneer in SEO testing. I get to fly around the world, speak at SEO conferences, and meet people that are way cooler than me. And the only qualification that I had was I just decided to go and do it. This is one of those rare moments in history where you can be the best at something. You can actually write your name into the history books and invent something. This isn't a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is a once in 3 lifetimes opportunities. And all it takes is for you to be the one to go and do it. And so today I encourage you to go and do it. Thank you so much.